Right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Java class. And in today's session, we are going to discuss about constructor overloading. So this is all the part what we have seen so far in the previous sessions. So in today's session, we are going to see some examples on this constructor overloading, right? So let us do the program parallelly with theory part. Right, see here. So if we have a same class with multiple number of methods, where the method name is also same as class name and with a different parameter profile, then it is called as constructor overloading, right? So for example, there is a class called as A, and inside A, I have a constructor A, right? Inside A, I have a constructor A. We already had studied how a constructor is defined and what are the different properties of the constructor. And now, if there is one more constructor inside A, right? If there is one more constructor inside A with a different parameter profile. So, for example, these two are the constructors which are inside A. Now, if we create an object for class A, now the compiler will get confused whether to execute this first constructor or to execute the second constructor. So, in order to avoid the confusion for the compiler, we need to maintain some difference in terms of the number or order or type of parameters. For example, let us see how we can make difference in terms of type of parameters, and then we can see one more example on order of parameters, and then we can see one more example on number of parameters. So for example, here I have an constructor called as int A, and here I have float A. Now, while creating an object for this class A, if we pass an integer parameter, then the first constructor will get executed. And if we pass a floating point parameter, then the second constructor will get executed. So let us see this one. Let us assume, let us write something called as if the first constructor got executed, it is going to print ECA. And if the second constructor got executed, it is going to print ECEB. So if the first constructor got executed, it is going to print ECA, and if the second constructor got executed, it is going to print ECEB. So when will be the first constructor is going to be executed? So whenever during the creation of an object, when we pass an integer value, then it is going to execute the first constructor inside class A. And when we pass a floating point value, then the second constructor is going to be executed. So this is called as constructor overloading. If you observe both the constructors, the first constructor is having one parameter and the second constructor is also having one parameter. So there is no difference in terms of number of parameters. And if you observe, the first constructor is having integer parameter and the second constructor is having floating point parameter. So there is some difference in terms of type of parameters. And we don't speak about order of parameters because the number of parameters is 1. If the number of parameters is 2 or more than 2, then we are going to speak about this order. So if there is only one parameter in both the constructors, then there is nothing worry about this order, right? Now, among both the constructors, the first one is integer and the second one is floating point. Now, let us see this one. Let us write the main method of Java, public static void main string args. Let us write the main method, and inside the main method, create an object for class A. Suppose A space obj equal to new A, right? O space obj equal to new A. So if you compile this program, it is going to lead to an error. Let us see this one. If I compile this one, right? We are getting some error. We are getting couple of errors. One is at line number 5 and one is at line number 13. So let us take this one. It is print ln. So I have corrected it. And at line number 13, I got an error. So what is the name of the error? No suitable constructor found for A. No arguments. So here we don't pass any arguments. So we don't pass any arguments. Now compiler is searching for a constructor which is going to which is having no arguments. So if compiler is searching, there is one constructor which is having integer parameter, so it will not suit with this one, and there is one more constructor with floating point parameter, it will not suit this one. So compiler is searching for a constructor which is having no parameters, but it does not found any constructor with no parameters. That's why it has given an error at line number 13. Right, you can see here, we have corrected the error at line number 5 and we got a single error at line number 13. So what we have to do here, study the description given by the compiler. Constructor A of int is not applicable. Actual and formal arguments list different length. Constructor A and A of float is not applicable. So for the object what you have created here, the compiler cannot execute A of int A and A of float A because there is some difference in terms of length or the number of parameters or the order of parameters. So now what we have to do here is, if you want to execute this integer parameter, sorry, this constructor which is having the integer parameter, then we have to pass an integer value. And if you want to execute the second constructor, that is the float constructor, then we can pass a floating point value. So if we pass a float point value, second constructor will get executed and ECEB will be printed on the output screen. If you pass an integer value, first constructor will get executed and ECEA will be printed on the output screen. So it is up to you whether to execute the first constructor or whether to execute the second constructor. If I want to execute both the constructors, right? If I want to execute both the constructors, I can simply give, or I can simply create two objects, one with the integer value and the other with the floating point value, right? One with the integer value and the other with the floating point value. If you compile this one, yeah, we need to maintain some changes in the object name. Both objects cannot be created with the single name, that is obj. So we have given obj for the first object and obj1 for the second object. So it is compiled successfully. Now if I run the code, you can observe here, I have created two objects, a space obj equal to new a of 1. As we discussed earlier, that the constructor will get executed automatically during the time of object creation. So whenever we write this statement, immediately a constructor is going to be executed. Which constructor is going to be executed will be depends upon the parameter what we have passed here. So if we pass 1, then it is going to execute the constructor which is going to take an integer parameter. So when this constructor got executed, that ECEA will be printed on the output screen. And at the same time, while creating an object, if we pass a floating point value, then a constructor with floating point parameter is going to be executed. When particular this constructor with floating point parameter got executed, it is going to print ECEB on the output screen. So this is what, and this is how a constructor or constructor overloading will get executed. Now, this is what we've seen the difference in terms of type of parameters, and let us see the difference in terms of order of parameters. So if I have two parameters, right? If I have two parameters inside both the methods. So if you observe these both the methods, there are two parameters here. There are also two parameters here. There are integer and floating point number. Here also the type of parameter is floating point number and integer. So there is no difference in terms of number of parameters. There is no difference in terms of type of parameters because both the constructors are having integer parameter as well as floating point parameter. So there is no difference in terms of type of parameters. The only difference is that in terms of order of parameters. So the first constructor will gets executed when we pass an integer value followed by float value, and the second constructor will get executed when we pass a float value followed by integer value. So that is the only difference between these two constructors, right? So if I want to print ECEB in the first line, I need to create an object by passing, right? By passing a float value followed by integer value. And if I want to execute, if I want to print ECA in the second line, I can pass something called as an integer value followed by float value. So if you observe the object creation, the first object creation, here we have passed two values. The first one is the floating point value and the second one is the integer value. So if we do this one, then compiler is going to check whether a constructor is present, which is going to take the floating value as a first parameter and integer value as a second parameter. So if it was found by the compiler, then it is going to execute that particular constructor. And if the constructor got executed, it is going to print ECA on the output screen. And similarly, when we pass an integer value followed by a floating point value, immediately the compiler is going to check whether a constructor is present, which is going to take a floating point value as a first parameter and integer value as a second parameter. And if it found, then it is going to execute that particular constructor. And if it is executed, ECEB will be printed on the output screen. Right? So I'm sorry, I think just a second. So the first object creation will execute this method because during the first object creation, we have passed the float value and then we have passed the integer value. So float value and integer value. So ECEB will be printed on this output screen. And after printing ECE, it is going to print ECA on the output screen because we had passed the integer value followed by float value, right? So now let us check the output of this code. So if you check the output of this code, it is ECEB and ECEA, right? So we have seen one example on type of parameters and we have seen one more example on order of parameters. So let us discuss about what about the number of parameters, right? So see here, if there are no parameters here and if there are two parameters here, if anybody wants to execute this one, there is no need to pass parameters during the time of object creation. And if anybody wants to execute the second one, there we have to pass one floating point parameter followed by integer parameter. For example, if I have written like this, so the object one has been created, right? The obj1 has been created with no arguments. So when an object with no arguments has been created, then it is the compiler is going to check in the class A whether there is any constructor which is having zero parameters. So if there are any constructors which is having zero parameters, then the constructor will get executed. And for the first statement, that is obj, we have passed a floating point value followed by integer value. Whenever the constructor identifies the floating point value followed by integer value, it is immediately going to execute the constructor which is going to take two parameters. The first one is the float and the second one is the integer, and it is going to print ECEB on the output screen. So this is how we can show difference in terms of number of parameters. Here the number of parameters is 0, right? Here the number of parameters are 2. So whenever the number of parameters having the difference, there is no discussion of order, there is no discussion of type, right? So this is how we can overload the constructors in Java. And I request the persons who are having any doubts, please raise your hands. So if anybody is having the doubts in constructors or constructor overloading, raise your hands. Right, if no one is there, then Then let us combine the concept of constructors and inheritance. Right? Constructors and inheritance. So here, what we are going to do here is, we are going to combine the concept of constructors and inheritance, right? So when we combine both the concepts, for example, if there is class A and if there is class B and if there is class C, and if we have written constructors in A, constructor in B and constructor in C, where C is inherited from B and B is inherited from A, and if you create an object for, right, if you create an object for class C, if these are, let us assume these all are default constructors. We all know that the default constructor is a constructor which is having 0 parameters, right? So when we create an object of class C, then that particular object is going to execute A class constructor and then B class constructor and then C class constructor. So the things which present in A will be printed first. The things which was present in the B's constructor will be printed next, and the things which were represented in the C's constructor will be printed last. And similarly, if you create an object for class B, right? If you create an object for class B, A's constructor will get executed and then B's constructor will get executed. And if you create an object for class A, only A's constructor will get executed. So why it is happening in the sense, if you write a super keyword inside the body of the constructor or not, it is your option, but the compiler is going to add super keyword for each and every constructor as a first statement. So when we create an object for class C, C's constructor will start executing. Inside the C's constructor, we are going to have a super keyword. Immediately class B's constructor will start executing. In class B's constructor also, Java compiler is going to add a super keyword. Whenever the super keyword is observed by the compiler, immediately it will go for the class A's constructor. In class A's constructor also, it is going to find the super keyword. And now if a compiler observes there is no super class for class A. So if there is no super class for class A, class A's constructor execution will be completed first, and then class B's constructor execution will be completed next, and finally class C's constructor will get executed. So see here, see with the example of a program. There is a class A, and inside class A I have a constructor. Right, inside class A I have a constructor. So system.out.println, system.out.println electronics, right, electronics, and then I have a class B which is inheriting class A, and here also I have a constructor called as B, and this constructor is going to print electronics and communication. And we have one more class called as class C, which is going to inherit class B, and this class C is having another constructor which is going to print engineering on the output screen. Right now, what I am trying to do is I am going to create an object for, here I am going to create an object, I am going to create a class called as a class D, which consists of a main method, public static void main, and within the braces I am going to have a string args. Now see here. So as we discussed earlier, there are three classes, class A, class B, and class C. Each and every class is having the default constructor. And now I have written one more class called as class D. And inside class D, let us create some objects inside the main method. For example, let us check each and every one. What happens if I create an object for class C? So if I create an object for class C, see here, the constructor which was present in class C will start executing. So if there is no super keyword inside our constructor body, then Java compiler is going to add a super keyword here. When the super keyword was observed in class C, then the compiler is going to check whether there is a super class for class C. So super class for class C is B. Immediately it is going to start executing class B's constructor. So in class B's constructor also, during the compilation, Java compiler has added the super keyword. Now it will search whether there is a super class for class B. So it has found that there is super class for class B is class A. Immediately it will start executing class A's constructor. So when the class A's constructor started executing, then also the JVM will found the super keyword as a first statement. So if the super keyword is there for class C A, now the compiler check whether there is a super class for class A or not. If you observe, for class B we have class A. For class A we don't have any super class, right? We don't have any super class here. So if there is no super class here, then the remaining statement, that is electronics, is going to be printed on the output screen. After printing the electronics, the control will return from where it was called. It was called from class B super keyword. And then the control will return to the next statement inside the class B's constructor. So communication will be printed on the output screen. So where this B was called from? B was called from the super keyword in class C. So that then after executing the B's constructor, the control will return to the next statement inside the class C's constructor. So engineering will be printed on the output screen. So by creating an object for a single class, we are executing the constructors which was present in class A, class B, class C, because A, B, C are in inheritance relation, right? So let us save the code with d.java. Let us save the code with something called as d.java, because the main method in Java program lies in D class. Now compile the code. There are no errors. Now run the code. If you run the code, it has printed electronics, communication, and engineering, which means the constructor in A, the constructor in B, the constructor in C, by creating an object for class C. Let us check this one. What happens if I create an object for class B? So if I create an object for class B, then the class B's constructor will start executing. When the class B's constructor starts executing, right, the super keyword, right, there is one, a super keyword will be added by the compiler. So when the super keyword was observed by the JVM, it is going to start executing the class A's constructor, because A is the super class for class B. Now, when the class A's constructor starts executing, there also it finds the super keyword. Now it will search whether there is a class A for A or not. So if there is no super class for class A, then it is going to print electronics. And after executing the constructor, the control will return to the next statement inside B's constructor, that is the system.out.println communication. So electronics followed by communication will be printed when we create an object for class B. in this program. Let us check this one. Right, if you observe, it has printed electronics and communication. Right, so and then let us check what will happen if we create an object for class A. So if we create an object for class A, then only electronics will be printed, because whenever we create an object of class A's constructor will start executing. There will be super keyword as a first statement. So there is no superclass for class A. That's why it just execute the remaining body of the constructor. So it will print electronics on the output screen, right? So now let us combine these things with somewhat of different parameters. Let us assume all the three constructors are of integer parameters. All the three constructors are of integer parameters. And now let us see what will be done in case if we create an object and if we pass an integer value. If you observe this constructor, the constructor C is going to be executed when we pass an integer value during the object creation. So here, while creating an object for class C, we have passed an integer value. So now this constructor will start executing. Let us check the output and then I will explain the program. If you check the output, it will be right. See here. If you compile this one, I am getting an error at line number 11 and line number 19. What is the error? There is one required integer parameter in order to execute class A's constructor, and there is one required integer parameter in order to execute class B's constructor. But we found that we don't pass any arguments. So see here, why we are getting this error? We have written the program excellently, but we are getting some errors. So let us check this one, why we are getting errors. So see here, just a second. Right, see here. When we create an object for class C, this constructor will start executing. There is no error here because we have passed an integer value to execute this constructor. Now inside the JVM or the Java compiler is going to add a super keyword. So if we add a super keyword, if it adds super keyword, which means we are calling a constructor which is going to take 0 parameters. We are going to call a constructor which is going to take 0 parameters. So when it was observed by the JVM, it is going to check in the superclass whether there is a method with 0 parameters. If you observe in superclass, there is no method with 0 parameters. There is a constructor with single integer parameter, right? That's why we are getting an error. What we have to do in order to avoid this error? If you want to avoid this error, we need to call super of something called as 10. If we pass an integer value, right, then superclass constructor, which is going to take an integer parameter, will get executed. Now this will get executed. And if you want to execute the constructor which was present in class A, we need to pass one more integer value. So see here, if you do like this, we are going to get a perfect output. So there are no errors. And we got the output: electronics, communication, and engineering. So this is what the super keyword. The super keyword which was created by the compiler will be in this form. The super keyword do not have any parameters. When the super keyword do not have any parameters was added during the compile time, and when during the running of the program, the JVM will verify whether there is a constructor which is having 0 parameters in the superclass. If there is a constructor with 0 parameters in the superclass, then it will get executed. And if there is no constructor with 0 parameters in the superclass, then it is going to return an error. Right? This is how we can avoid such type of errors by using the super keyword and by passing some integer value. So with this, I am going to close today's session. And tomorrow session also, we are going to discuss about these constructors only, right? I think today we just combined the concept of constructors and inheritance. Tomorrow we are going to play with some programs with the super keyword and this keyword. There is one more keyword called as this, and I am going to combine the inheritance, the constructors, along with the super keyword and along with the this keyword. So we are going to play with some programs tomorrow, right? And if anybody is having the doubts, can you please raise your hand? Anybody is having the doubts, please raise your hand. Then okay. So if there are no doubts, I am going to close today's session.